Hello and welcome to the latest season of Preserving History and Democracy. My name is Cynthia Mendoza, Communications Coordinator for the Doñana County Clerk's Office. I'm here with Bernardine Caparel, our producer. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing really well. I'm excited
awesome.
about today.
We're in a new studio.
I know.
Not studio, not new. We're in our old studio with some remodeling.
And I love it.
It's awesome. It looks incredible.
It really does.
We also have Jacob Slaughter behind camera, our producer and editor. And we also have some amazing guests with us today.
Yes, we do.
Do you want to introduce them?
Sure will. Yes. We have Angelica Valenzuela with us. She is the Filing Supervisor, Recording and Filing Supervisor, sorry.
That's all right.
And Julie, who is the doc tech in the Bureau of Elections, who has been helping us out with some historical boxes. Can you tell us about the historical boxes?
Yes. Okay. So, the Historical Box Project consists of a bunch of miscellaneous historic documents. So the way that I found these documents were just going through our vault, trying to make sure I knew exactly what was in there, where is it. This was right around the time I was promoted to supervisor. Well,
so you inherited
a couple
this
years after.
Not
really.
No. Okay.
No. So, looking through the vault, I opened a drawer, and there's a hodgepodge of miscellaneous stocks in there. Tri-folded, looked scary. And I think Jacob's going to show a picture.
Yes, we have a picture.
So, quickly realizing that we needed to do something with it, pulling out just some random pieces and seeing how old they were and very fragile. So we started the Historic Box Project. It took us many years. I think when we first started, it was in 2018. I know. Because that's not what we do.
Right.
We record.
Like your daily duties already, so it's hard to just drop everything and work on that.
We record documents. We have 30,000 plus documents recorded a year, amongst marriage licenses, business licenses, all these other things that we do. And so, anyway, that's how we started with the project, and we started unfolding, putting them in boxes. Actually, we put them in boxes first before unfolding, and started going through them.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I understand Mr. Hendrickson came and looked at some documents. Is that right?
Dr. Rick Hendricks.
Oh, Hendricks. I'm
yes,
sorry.
That's all right.
My bad.
Yes, Dr. Rick Hendricks. I invited him. I met him. How was I introduced, if I can remember? It's been so long. Probably I might have looked him up and called him, or met him from the Archives Bazaar. I can't quite remember.
Right.
But he was the state historian at the time. And now he's chairman of the board of the New Mexico Commission of Public Records. And he's the state archives administrator. And then Rob Martinez is now the state historian. So anyway, Rick came in and I said, are any of these valuable? I mean, like, yes, they're cool. They're old. We can tell, of course, history has value, but is there anything significant here? And so he was amazing. He quickly went through the documents in just a couple of days, and he gave some direction and said, one of the most important things is you need to flatten them out. And so he set up kind of like a humidifying
very
station.
cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. To help try to lay them a little bit flatter, some of the docs, and especially the multi-page thick ones. And then he went through, and we had already kind of started trying to read the documents and write what they were, but we didn't have a whole lot of experience reading old documents. And so the way that they're written and just the handwriting was really difficult. And then a lot of them were in Spanish.
I was
And
just
so-
going to ask you, how far back did it go? Were they in
Yeah.
Spanish? Yeah.
Yes. And so he did some corrections, like, no, that's not who that is. That's this person. And he was so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So he helped a little bit with that. And he said, there's definitely, yes, this lot definitely has value. So with that, we started, okay, well, then let's go through them. Started really trying to focus on a project. And he introduced us to a grant that would probably help with it. And so we did apply. And we were awarded a
wonderful.
grant. Yeah, It was really exciting. Unfortunately, at the time, the grant was to include hiring staff to do the project because, again, we just didn't have time.
Right.
And we were on a hiring freeze.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so it was very, very difficult, and we weren't able to move forward with it, which was hard. And so the project kind of sat, and we did what we could as we could. We had high school interns do what they can with their limited experience and kind of catalog things, and so here we are 7 years later, and we were able to ask Julie and a couple of other staff who primarily do elections, Jasmine and Noemi, and they did an excellent job as well. And they definitely completed the first phase of the project.
That's awesome.
Which we had been trying to do for years already.
Right.
So
Bravo.
yeah.
And so for those who don't know, we kind of have two sides of the house, our recording and filing team, and then our Bureau of Elections team. And obviously we all work together to make things happen. But Bureau of Elections is kind of a slow time when it's not in the middle of an election. Things are kind of starting to pick up again. But Bureau of
Right.
Elections kind of gets to
Right.
chill for a bit. So that was why they got to do some stuff for you guys, which is great.
Yeah, it was great.
So have you guys found anything important in those?
I think all of it's important.
Yeah.
And it's important to somebody, especially the neat thing about it is they're original.
Right.
They're original documents. So most of the things in our archives are going to be copy in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
So of course, before copy machines, they're handwritten. So yes, they seem original,
Right.
but for the most part, they're just copies of the original, just handwritten copy. And so this boxes, there's several. How many, Julie, would you say 10?
There's 14,
14.
in the room, and I've gone through, I'm on my 5th.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thousands of documents. And so they're original. And they all have value.
Yeah.
I think, to someone writing a book on a certain
Right.
topic, choose a topic. And we're probably going to have something that's
Right.
related to it as far as New Mexico history or Doña County history.
Right.
So,
Oh, cool.
but yes, a lot of neat things.
Yeah.
That to someone who doesn't really know all of New Mexico history, we might say, oh my gosh, that's so neat. And a historian might be like, yeah, that's all right. And there's things that they would say, oh yeah, that's really cool.
It's very subjective, the
Yes.
importance.
Yes.
So,
So
cool.
one of the docs that we found in the beginning of the project, going through them, was Pat Garrett's coroner's report.
Right. That's so cool.
That is so amazing.
I know. It was
That is
really
really
fun
cool.
because I had just taken a box and I'm sitting in my office working on it. And again, it was in the beginning, so we were all very excited about the project. And one of the staff come into my office and they're like, what are you working on today? Or what's in your box? And so I said, oh, this one's really cool. There's a bunch of coroner's reports. I said, watch, hard to explain. Let's read one together. And I just pulled one out randomly. And she came behind and we read it together. And we both looked at each other, jaws dropped, and we're like, oh, it's Pat Garrett. And so that was super, super neat. And kind of the name of the project that we gave it was Holding History in Our Hands.
Oh, I love that.
Because that's what we were
Yeah.
doing.
Right.
And it came from finding that document. So We found the document, and coincidentally, there was a professor in Arizona at ASU who is also a historian and would call asking for this particular document. I didn't know. And he said that he has been doing it for years. He'd call here, he calls
Yeah.
district court. He's like, I know it's somewhere.
It has to be somewhere.
It's just
Where?
somebody finding it.
Yeah.
So he was doing his annual pick up the phone and call. And I had no idea, but we had a staff meeting, a standing meeting. And so I shared the document with everyone. And one of our staff said, "Oh, I've been looking for that." And I'm like, that was weird comment, right? And then we went on with our meeting, and then she's like, "How can I get a copy? Because I've been looking for that." And I said, "What do you mean you've been looking for it?" And then she says, "No, I have a customer who called for it in November." And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me." It's crazy.
It is crazy.
So, yes, we were able to get him the document. And he actually, so we created a whole event around the Pat Garrett document. And he came and he spoke at our event.
Yeah.
It was awesome. He's so knowledgeable. And he stayed the night with his wife and his brother. And they went to go see the gravesite for Pat
Wow.
Garrett.
Wow.
So, you know, people took
Yeah.
him to
Right.
go see it, and so that was fun. And he was like, "I knew somebody had it. It was just a matter of finding it." And actually, I mean, this wasn't the first time that people saw it. We've had a guest on our podcast, Dave Thomas.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, he's a historian,
Yes.
local historian. Well, he had a certified copy of it from us from I think the 70s or 80s.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So he knew about it.
Right.
It was just in the drawer that nobody ever
Yeah.
saw or paid attention to, and so all of us that work here now, we didn't know about it.
Right.
So yeah, it was very eye opening. Like, what
Yeah.
else is in here? What else can we find?
Oh, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other
Oh,
stuff.
yes, we
still
can
have
have-
to just dig through.
Julie was amazing. She would find something, know that it was something, and then research a little bit, and she could unravel a whole story about just this document or, any particular document. She found several pieces of document that had to do with La Mesa, and it basically told the whole story of La Mesa, which was
Wow.
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So, Julie, how did you get involved with these boxes?
Well, this year we're just holding a regular local election. So there's no primary. It's not a big, busy year like last year's presidential that we were all running
Swamped.
crazy.
Yeah.
But so with there being just very little to do this year, after I got my daily tasks done for BOE, we then were tapped to just work on these boxes a little bit at a time, and they're really quite interesting if you have a curious mind and if you enjoy history.
Right.
So I just had a lot of fun going through them. And I'm new to New Mexico. We moved here in 2021. So learning some of the history, we did a little bit of a walk through territorial New Mexico to statehood.
Right.
Because a lot of the documents I've been going through have dates of 1850, 1860, 1870s, and then statehood in 1912, and then beyond. But some of them were just really amazing.
Tell us about your first one that you have here.
So, and Angelica alluded to the fact that they were all folded, so this one has some pretty rough creases in it. But this is what would be considered an original homestead certificate. As you can see, it says the United States of America on the top. And it's the homestead certificate that says these people now own this piece of land, and it's actually signed by the office of the president back in 1891. So that was President Benjamin Harrison.
Amazing. Yeah.
And
In our little county.
And this, this document, everybody that comes in and asks for a copy of their deed, I've paid off my mortgage, I want a copy of my deed. We hand them a piece of paper that's black and white and looks kind of, bland
Yeah.
and boring. And I'm pretty sure that they're all quite disappointed because they're like, oh, that's it? They probably all are looking for something like this, a nice oversized
cool.
certificate with a seal, with artwork, something that I can frame it, and
looks
put it on
official.
my wall.
It does.
It looks important. It
Yeah.
looks, I've worked so hard to pay this heavy
Right.
burden off, and I get this. And I want this.
Maybe we can work on that. That'd be cool.
I say go on your computer, print up something fancy, and
Right,
nobody do it
knows.
yourself.
Right? Pretty cool. And then it was only $1.50 to record that, so that's pretty crazy.
So, Julie, what else did you find while organizing?
There's a document from 1930 that was part of the census, and it the people that were kind of tabulating the numbers, they do a summary and they say, okay, well, this is how many marriages and this is how many divorces, and then they try to figure out where the changes are and why. And for New Mexico, there was a big jump in the number of marriage licenses that people were applying for. And they looked back and they figured out that, oh, Texas did this new legislation that there was a waiting period. You could go apply for your license, but they weren't going to give it to you right then and there. You had to come back a couple days later.
Okay.
And so New Mexico and Oklahoma saw double-digit percentage increases when Texas enacted that legislation. So the number of marriage licenses in Texas dropped, and then Oklahoma and New Mexico gained a significant amount of number.
Wow.
And some things don't change.
People were coming here to,
Yeah.
I mean, people still come here from Texas all the time.
That's right.
To get their marriage license because it's more expensive in Texas.
It's more expensive. A waiting period. We don't have
Oh,
that
there's
here.
still a waiting period over there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wonder
Yeah.
why they do that. They're like, let's see if they change their mind after a few days. How cool.
So just remember, if you're looking for a marriage license with us, call to make an appointment.
Yes. What else did you find, Julie?
There's a document from the New Mexico Department of Health, and it was the application for a sewer license for the Harvey Hotel that was run up off of the Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe Railroad line for the hotel at Rincon, but it was a Harvey house so that they could attach the sewer line so they could run waste.
Cool. Angelica, I know you've mentioned the Harvey House before. Can you kind of explain it to those who aren't familiar with it?
So on the Santa Fe Railway, Mr. Harvey basically didn't maybe invent the meal cart, but took it to another level. Mm-hmm. And so it started with meal carts on the railway, on the train, right? And the passenger train. Well, then he started opening restaurants along the railway, and they were called Harvey House. One of the famous things about these houses is that he employed the Harvey girls. And so they were, it's actually started off with all men who
I read
who were
that.
wait
Yeah,
staff.
waiters.
Yes, and then it changed to all women. And they had a uniform. They were expected to have good manners, be pleasant, and that was kind of the draw of the Harvey House, was the Harvey girls. And there was a movie made with Judy Garland called The Harvey Girls, I believe. And so also that made it famous. But so there's a lot of museums, Harvey House museums throughout New Mexico. And so one of the things that we have here now in partner with this document is we have a coroner's report of an individual, and it says that they were unidentified. So I assumed they probably weren't from the area if nobody knew who it was.
Right.
And he was murdered. And what he had on him was a meal coupon book from the Harvey House for lunch.
It's amazing.
And I called around to the Harvey House museums, and I finally got someone who said, I've never seen one, and nobody had seen one, but this lady said, I've never seen one, but what I believe that is are coupon books for the people who worked for the railway, and they were given these for lunch. And yes, they were lunch tickets, and they were little, it's a booklet and little tickets. And there was probably about, I think there was maybe 5 coupons used in that book, but it was still pretty much full.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's so old and kind of dirty. And so in the back, it has what looks like could be the person's name, but you can't read it, but you can tell something's there.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe if we're able to preserve it and go through that preservation process where it gets cleaned, maybe it'll show up.
How
Yeah.
cool. Awesome.
Well, if you think that's interesting, we have an upcoming podcast with author Richard Metzer. He wrote the Fred Harvey Houses of the Southwest, and he's going to join us for a podcast. Yeah.
Awesome podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be amazed at that find that only we have.
Cool.
Yeah,
We
very
have,
cool.
and who would think that the clerk's office has something like that? We're not supposed to.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not what we do.
We have to
But
go.
you just never know,
Yeah.
you know? That's why archives are so
Interesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
A lot of the documents were in Spanish.
Right.
So came across one that was in Rhodey, New Mexico in 1915. And if people don't know where Rhodey is because it's not really on the map,
Right.
it's just outside of Hatch. There was a double murder-suicide. Then we also had a document that Doña Ana County was being billed for the care of a prisoner at the state penitentiary. And I was like, this is interesting because the state sent this document to the county, and the county replied, what are you talking about? We have no idea what this is about. So I was like, okay, so who is this prisoner? So I did a search on that,
Right.
and I did a search on that time frame, and it turned out that the gentleman was being held because he and some of his gang, for lack of a better word, were in the Luna County jail
Okay.
and broke out. They locked the deputy that was on duty back in the cell.
Oh my gosh.
They stole weapons from the sheriff's office, and they started to flee. The sheriff finds out, gets together a posse, and is chasing them. Well, they crossed into Doña Ana County. And right outside of, I think the Hatch area, they had stopped to like rest for a minute, and they, the posse caught up with them. So there was a shootout. The Luna County sheriff got killed. One of the gang members also got killed. A couple other people got injured, but Doña Ana County ended up being charged fees for the care of prisoners because when they were captured in Doña Ana County, even though it all started in Luna County.
Jeez, sounds like something you'd see in a Western movie.
So I think the county commissioners were like, seriously?
We're not doing this.
And the prisoner care was for like 2 or 3 years and then stopped.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
wonder if something happened to the gentleman while he was in the penitentiary, because he was supposed to be there for 99 years and we only got billed for like 2.5.
Highly suspicious.
And then there was just a regular random document that was a lease pendens, which is from 1917. Well, 1917 is the beginning of World War I. And there's two lawyers' names on it. One is Mr. Lyons and one is Mr. Oppenheimer.
Ooh, Oppenheimer.
Sounds familiar.
Oppenheimer being a very historic name with ties to New Mexico because of the atomic project. I was like, oh, I wonder if this Oppenheimer was related to the other Oppenheimer. So I just did a quick little, hey, Google, tell me about this Oppenheimer. And you know how sometimes it'll tell you related to or something like that. Well, I didn't find a relation connection, but I didn't keep digging when I found that the two lawyers, because World War I broke out, the two lawyers were drafted. One of them, Mr. Lyons, got a medical discharge. They're like, you can't be at war. Mr. Oppenheimer went, came back from the war. The two of them got back together, restarted their law practice, and then they ended up being murdered in their office due to a disputed land claim.
What kind of land was it?
It had something to do with a silver mine just into, like, it crosses the New Mexico border.
Okay.
What year was this?
It was 1920.
1929.
So you're looking
Yes.
at an article.
From the El Paso Bar Journal about these two lawyers that were gunned down in their office.
Yeah, they released the article over 3 issues, and yeah, they were killed. They were killed in their office by this gentleman, and this gentleman actually admitted, yeah, I walked in, I killed him. Yeah, so what? And then he ended up killing himself with a poison tablet in his jail cell, so he never stood trial.
Oh my gosh.
It is the Wild West.
The article has a picture. Who is that?
That is Mr. Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's 3 parts to it.
There's 3 parts to the thing.
Right. And
Hopefully
there is
Jacob will be able to.
Yeah, Jacob can zone in on that. But what's interesting is that mine is said to have been cursed.
You know, when the conquistadors tried to find it, 9 of the 10 explorers were killed. Anybody who's tried to hold on to it, usually some sort of tragedy happens in their life. But
This mine? The same mine? Wow.
The same mine.
Yeah.
And these
But-
2 lawyers got killed after they became involved in a case with the mine.
something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's,
Some
that's
sort of
wild
land
and crazy.
dispute with something.
That is wild.
So there was, I guess, another document that you wanted to talk about?
So we've all, you know, in the news, there's always something going on, and considering the recent tragic events in Texas, we know that water is not always our friend. And we uncovered that in 1921, in Hatch, in the middle of the night, a flood came. And the water rose significantly, just like that. And this is before weather services. This is before warning sirens. But the men created some sort of like human chain or something, and there was a rise, and they just kind of moved all the women and children up the hill, and not a single life was lost. There
amazing.
was some property damage because in some of the buildings the water was 4 feet high.
Oh, wow.
There's this document from the Las Cruces Chamber of Commerce and the Board of County Commissioners and the Farm Bureau to say, here's what you gave us, and here is how we've spent it so far, and now the Red Cross has arrived and has taken charge, so we're not going to spend any more of the funds, and we're giving this money back to you. So they have an accounting of that, and then the Red Cross had pictures of the damage and the floods and so forth. But what was amazing is it came in the middle of the night and we didn't lose a single person.
Right. That is amazing. Back in the day.
I mean, some crops and buildings were damaged, but it was at least, no lives lost.
It's awesome.
That reminds me of another flood that we had here in Doña Ana County in 1935, and we're going to have a future podcast coming up to talk about that flood and the impact, especially on Las Cruces, the city. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I think we're no stranger to floods
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
in our area.
And considering that we're in the desert.
Yeah. I know in the 1800s there were floods from the Rio Grande to Mesilla.
Oh, wow.
And they used, just to get from Mesilla to Las Cruces, they had almost like a ferry system.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In the desert.
Because,
Who would have thought?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the Rio Grande changed course so many times.
That's when I think the Shalem colony
Right.
was
flooded.
destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything
Crazy
ties
stuff.
together with
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it's amazing.
Cool.
It's
So, Angelica,
amazing.
what happens to these documents after they've been kind of gone through?
Like I mentioned, we are still in phase one.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've cataloged the files, put them in, once we finish cataloging all the files, putting them in acid-free archive folders, unfolding everything, now we know what we have.
Right.
Right? And so we can start grouping the documents together with like documents. So, for example, the coroner's reports, they're numbered, and so we can put them all in one box. There's business records, there's statements, like bills, all kinds of different documents that we can start putting them together, checking if they have a filing system already,
Right.
and putting them where they go. There's probate records that maybe there's documents to a file that already exists, or maybe we need to create a file and put it with the probate documents. We'll start researching that.
Right.
And then we need to image. We need to scan everything. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's
So
going to be
that'll take
delicate.
Yes, yes.
a long time.
Yeah.
How
It's going to be
cool.
delicate because, yes, some of these documents are fragile. Yeah. But we have to keep them now
Yeah.
that they're here. Some of these documents may have had a retention, but we're not going to get rid of them now.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can. They're really cool.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Even after we image, I think the original is important to keep. And we do the archives bazaar and other things, and so we like to show original documents.
Right.
Show what you got. Cool. So I know we're getting a new vault, kind of in the new warehouse. Will any of these documents kind of be held over there? Will they be
Probably.
held- Okay.
Probably. Once it's done.
Right.
Because right now that we're working on them, we have to have access to them
Right.
easy. And so, but yeah, once they're done, that's
It's a
probably
process.
what they'll be.
That's awesome, though.
I'd like to say a personal thank you to Julie for all her hard work and interest and care that she took on these documents. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciated the work that she did and that Jasmine and Noemi did as well on this project. They really got it going, really got us in a place where we didn't think we'd be for quite some time. So I appreciate you. Thank you for all your work and interest and knowledge.
Oh, you're welcome. As long as we're not doing anything too busy or crazy on my side, it's always fun to tiptoe through history for an hour or so a day and
Yeah, that'd
and
be great.
go through stuff.
I would love that.
And like you were saying with probate, I know we found guardianship papers
Yes.
for people that their parents died and
Yeah.
somebody took over care of the children.
And those were very interesting too, because it was, I guess it's how things were done, and I don't know enough about it to have an opinion, but when you first read them, it's kind of off-putting because they say, the child will work for their education, for their clothing, for this.
Wow.
And so, it's like, what does that mean?
Ah,
But
interesting.
they're very interesting documents.
cool.
So to be able to put the spotlight on some of these and let researchers know that they're here, there's things that would be good for genealogy purposes, and even just researchers who are authors that are writing books about Doñana
Right.
County.
Right. We've
Yeah,
met
you
a
never
few
know
of them
what you're
here.
gonna find.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So, it's awesome.
Well, I love the way Julie would come over to my cubicle and say, "Look what I found." Very excited. And we made a list of important documents that she wanted to talk about here today. So I
highlight.
thank you for all your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could even read the Spanish ones.
Oh, cool.
Wow, that's right. She had them.
Cool.
Yep.
So
The,
she
the,
has a knack for it.
some of the handwriting, sometimes you're not quite sure what you're looking at, and there were a number of them that I was like, I get where they thought that was the person's name, but no.
Yes, different spellings of the same name.
Yeah.
Well, and then some of the cursive handwriting, people would say, oh, their name starts with an A, and I'm like, no, that's an F. or just because the handwriting is almost calligraphy with all the extra little markings and so forth. So it's like, okay, no, you have to put your mind back into crazy handwriting, not just print.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So she did a lot of corrections
Oh,
of what we
cool.
already had.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, it's been a really interesting look at some of the stuff that we
Yeah.
have in our very own vaults. You never know what you might find in there.
You never know.
We want to thank Angelica and Julie for taking some time to talk with us about some of the stuff that you found. And yeah, it's been a great episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, that does it for this episode of Preserving History and Democracy. I want to thank our producer, Bernardine Caparel, once again.
Thank you.
For finding us our incredible guests. And I want to thank Julie and Angelica for joining us. This has been the latest episode of Preserving History and Democracy. Make sure to listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Watch us on YouTube as well. And follow us on our social medias for more updates.